Hi, welcome to my channel Cloud with Girish. In the previous video workshop, I explained the use of CloudWatch and CloudTrail for logging, monitoring, alarming, and auditing. I also covered how to create aggregated logs in CloudWatch using a custom log group. If you missed it, be sure to check out the tutorial linked in the description before continuing. In this video, I will introduce another useful feature, CloudWatch Live Tail, which lets you view live logs as they are generated. If you are a Linux user, you are likely familiar with the tail command for viewing live logs. CloudWatch Live Tail feature works similarly, allowing you to monitor logs in real time as your functions are executed. In this example, I will demonstrate how to set up live tail logging in AWS CloudWatch. We will invoke a Lambda function and analyze its log live as they are published to the log stream. This feature is incredibly helpful for various use cases, including debugging issues, monitoring deployments, command center oversight, identifying performance issues, and more. Let's look at our simple architecture here. We have a CloudWatch, as we have learned in the prior workshop. CloudWatch is a log mechanism, and log can be created via many resources, Lambda, EC2, and other services. CloudWatch has logs, alarm, metrics, functions. In this scenario, we are extending the log to create a live tail, and we are identifying a filter pattern, so we will be able to see the live tail coming into that log. Prerequisite for this is familiarity with the AWS console, since I will be using the AWS console. For this workshop, AWS account with permissions to create and configure Lambda function and CloudWatch log group. Basic understanding of Lambda function and AWS CloudWatch, and of course, like if you have watched the previous workshop for logging, monitoring, auditing, and log aggregation, that will be helpful for the overall concepts. Let's get started. So we will look at few points about CloudWatch Live Tail. We'll review the CloudWatch log group and then the Lambda function. We'll configure a live tail, invoke the Lambda function, and then monitor the live tail for highlighted and filter log. And then at the end, like I always recommend, do a cleanup activity, delete the log group and the live tail session so that you don't incur ongoing charges. So here are a few points about CloudWatch Live Tail. CloudWatch Live Tail provides options to refine and target specific log data. Use highlight to flag events that match your specified term. So you can specify up to 5 terms here. Also, you can filter to limit the event displayed in the session, because of course you may not want to live tail the entire log. You can if you don't specify any filter, but if you are watching for a specific event in the log, then you can filter to that term. And then you can select up to 10 log groups to include in the live tail session. One point to be aware of, that CloudWatch Live Tail is charged on a per minute basis during the session, making it flexible on-demand solution for troubleshooting and monitoring. So it's a on-demand solution, so you can live tail it, and once you are done, then you end your session just to avoid the ongoing charges for the service. Let's review the CloudWatch log group. So for this CloudWatch log live tail demonstration, I'm going to use a log group. It's named as AWS Lambda Meeting Notes Summarizer. This log group is already in place for an existing Lambda function, and all logs generated by these functions are stored here. This setup allows us monitor and analyze the log data produced by this Lambda function in real time. And then the Lambda function itself, the Lambda function that I'm using is a pre-configured with logging capability. And this function supports a generative AI use case and include guardrail to ensure data security and compliance. For example, if PII data, which is personally identifiable information, is deducted in the data processed by this function, a guardrail log entry will be generated in the CloudWatch log group to flag the occurrence. This helps maintain data safety by providing insights into sensitive data handling during AI operation. At the same time, through the log, we know that, okay, at this specific moment, a guardrail was triggered on this set of data. So let's configure a live tail. So we will configure it, and then I will use the guardrail intervene as the highlighted term, and also like as a filter term, because I want to only look at when a guardrail has intervened on the data, because it has encountered a PII data element based on my definition in the function. So this is the use case, and it's very simple. From the AWS CloudWatch log, from the I can click on live tail, and then I can specify that, hey, what are the highlighted term, what is the filter term I want to use. So like I said, I'm going to use guardrail intervene because that's what I want to live tail for. And then I will specify the log group. I'm picking one log group, but this is where I can pick up to 10 log group. I can also filter on a specific stream, but I'm going to leave it blank, so it will pick all the log stream underneath that log group, and it will look for this filter criteria that I have specified. And then I will apply the filter and start the live tail session. So now my live tail session is in place. So of course, the next step is to invoke the Lambda so that log get published in the log group, which will then trigger the display of my selected log into the live tail session. So to invoke the Lambda function, I'm gonna use this sample app. It's a GenAI app created by me to invoke the Lambda in the backend. So this app uses multiple AWS services like API Gateway, the Lambda, Bedrock, some security feature, the logging feature, and others. Simple app basically. So, but once I click on submit, then it's gonna invoke the Lambda function. And when it invokes the Lambda function, based on the data that I'm passing here in this app, it will also check on any PII data. And if a PII data is encountered, then I will get that filter criteria that I have specified, which will say, hey, the guardrail has intervened, and that's what I want to see, right? So here is the scenario where I'm monitoring the live tail for highlighted filter log. So this is like, you know, how I configured the live tail. And if you see here, once I have invoked the Lambda function, and because I passed the PII data to that function, I am getting this live tail, the guardrail intervene. And this is the only log I'm getting here because I'm filtering on it. If I didn't filter it, I will see a whole bunch of log here, but I'm not interested in this use case. I only want to see when the guardrail was intervened. And as you can see, it's a live scenario, my live tail. If I keep invoking that function with other data, whenever it encountered a PII and it invoked the guardrail intervene, then I will see that in this live tail. So it's very helpful feature to monitor the log based on the filter criteria. So this is really the demonstration that I wanted to show for another feature of CloudWatch log group. Now, before we conclude it, make sure that you clean up, you delete the log group, you end the live tail session, and that's because like you don't want to keep incurring charge in your AWS account for this service. So in this workshop, we successfully demonstrated how to implement a live tail for CloudWatch log. Logging and monitoring are essential component of observability, and mastering different techniques can greatly enhance your skill in this area. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I'm constantly working on new content covering various AWS topics, so please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Cloud with Girish channel. Your support helps me continue creating valuable AWS tutorial and workshop. Stay tuned for more exciting content.